We thank David Wilder from Hebron for this feature. So what does Obama's victory mean for Israel? The government press office, in partnership with Gloria, the Global Research International Affairs Center, held a briefing today on the implications of the U.S. elections for Israel and the Middle East.
It's a U.S. Middle East strategy issue. This is not a question of just of what the U.S. is going to do in the Arab-Israeli peace process. It's a question of how the United States is going to have to handle an extremely serious strategic challenge which affects 20 countries or more. And one should not assume that Iran and Syria will stand by and say, well, we're so happy to see this withdrawal that we will stop all attacks to facilitate it. I think that they will take a page from the book of Hamas and Hezbollah and possibly escalate attacks so that they can claim victory. They forced America out, and knowing that there will not be any retaliation for their actions. We have every reason to believe that he will take a relatively soft approach. Whether or not he holds direct negotiations or indirect negotiations or meets with Ahmadinejad or doesn't meet with Ahmadinejad, we cannot expect that he will take a tougher line on sanctions and pressures, and that he will not persuade Tehran that he's going to do so. This is going to have a predictable effect that the Iranians are going to push ahead on nuclear weapons as fast as they have, with much less concern over consequences.
What needs to be constructed between now and early on in an Obama administration is a framework in which negotiations are, first of all, backed by very robust economic sanctions and are framed in a way which does not enable the Iranians to once again go into years and years of maneuvers.
If Iran got nuclear weapons, it is possible that they would use them on Israel, and it is possible that they would give them to terrorist groups which would use them on Israel. This is not the most likely scenario. I would assign this scenario a likelihood of 10 or 15%. That's a low percentage, but the scenario is so dangerous that even if it's only 10 or 15%, Israel must take it very seriously. So I think there's a potential here for strategic catastrophe. And again, it's not contingent on whether President Obama meets with Ahmadinejad or not. It's that orientation that is, our main priority is to conciliate with our enemies, not to support our friends. That worries me a great deal.
I think Obama has already tried in more than one way to place himself in the Truman tradition. He has distanced himself from what he himself calls the liberals who fail to understand that the enemies of America are real enemies. And I found this in The Audacity of Hope, and I found this in his victory speech tonight.